Children, today we are going to do our next chapter. I am going to start the new lesson today. Just I want to recap your whatever you have studied in your previous chapter. Previous chapter you have studied about motion, types of motion. In that you have read circular motion, rectilinear motion, and different quantities which support motion like speed, velocity, acceleration, then distance, displacement. All these things you studied, right, children? You have read about force also. What is force? What is the SI unit of force? Then you have read three equations of motion, that is V is equal to U plus AT, V square minus U square is equal to 2AS, S is equal to UT plus half AT square. All these things all together describe motion. Now today we are going to start. Now we will see, we have learned what is motion, we have seen what is force. Now the question arises, what causes motion? To know about that, we are going to learn few laws. So next chapter is laws of motion. Laws of motion. So we will try to find the scientists were also trying to find what causes motion. Motion we know. So what causes motion? Any an external force is required to move a stationary object. We all know, right? Is it clear? External force is required. Just I'll write it down. And external force is required to make a stationary object move. An external force is required to make a stationary object move. What is the meaning of stationary object? Means any object which is at rest. Suppose for example, if I keep a ball on a table, will it move? If I am looking at the ball, will it start moving? No. For that I need some external force. If I am putting the ball on the ground, I need to kick it so that it will start moving. If I am putting a ball on the table, I need to push it so that that ball will start moving. Okay. Similarly, an external force is required to stop a moving object. I must say an external force is needed to stop a moving object. So again, an external force is required to stop a moving object. Have you ever seen that when a ball or anything is moving, all of a sudden they will stop? It will stop. Have you ever seen? Is it happen? Yes, it happens. Because with any moving object, if it is frictionless, if it is not a frictionless surface, if any object is moving, there is always a resistive force which is acting against the motion, which will try to stop the moving object. So that is the frictional force. We all know. In your previous classes also, you must have studied about what is frictional force. Okay? Correct? Okay. So, again that frictional force we can call it as external force. So, in this lesson we will see so many with different examples, different scenarios. Will be able to see different forces and what are the external forces which is applied to either move a stationary object or stop a moving object. So now the next is now we will go in a bit detail of about forces. So there are two categories of forces. One is balanced forces, and next is unbalanced forces. So these are the two categories of forces which we definitely need to understand this lesson. Balanced forces and unbalanced forces. Now we will see what are balanced forces. Now first we will see first category, that is balanced forces. From the name itself we could make out balance. So have you seen? Can you give some examples of balanced forces where you see balanced forces? Yes. It can be spring balance, it can be beam balance, it can be weight balance. Like when you are going to a grocery shop to purchase something, so have you seen a balance there? So what is the meaning of balance? Balance means two objects are balanced. The two objects which are kept on that balance should be equal. Okay? So that is the meaning of balanced force. So in balanced force, forces on an object are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. Forces in an object will be equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. Again, magnitude. What is the meaning of magnitude? Magnitude means, in physics we use this word magnitude. So what is the meaning of magnitude? Magnitude is the numerical value which defines the measure of an object. So numerical magnitude means a numerical value which defines the measure of an object. That is the meaning of magnitude. So what I said, balanced forces means an object which is having equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. I'll give you one example. So first is equal and opposite forces. Suppose this is one object. Okay, I am applying 1 Newton force here. Okay, so in the previous chapter also and previous classes also you have read about force. What is force and what is the SI unit of force, children? SI unit of force is Newton, capital N. We denote it by capital N. So if this is one object, I am applying 1 Newton force this side, on the right side. The object will start moving that side. If on the opposite side also I am applying 1 Newton force, isn't it a balanced force? Isn't it the object at rest? Yes. So 1 Newton force on the right side, 1 Newton force on the left side. So see, magnitude is 1 Newton, 1 equal in magnitude but their directions are opposite. So in balanced force, equal and opposite forces are there. Second, see, if I am not applying 1 Newton force this side, only 1 Newton force that side, means the body will start moving. But when I am applying the equal magnitude of force on the opposite side, what will happen? The object will come to rest. Means, do not cause the change in motion. Do not cause the change in motion. Okay. So first is equal and opposite forces do not cause the change in motion. What happens if the magnitudes are not equal? There comes unbalanced force. Unbalanced forces. Unbalanced forces. So in unbalanced forces we have unequal forces. We have unequal forces. Forces can be in the same or opposite direction. Last, cause a change in motion. Well, I will explain you with the help of example, then it will be more clear to you. What I said, in unbalanced forces we have unequal forces. Forces can be in the same or in opposite direction and it cause a change in motion. Suppose this is one object. Okay. I am applying 1 Newton force this side. The body will start moving that side. Now I am applying 2 Newton force this side. Whose magnitude is greater? This 2 Newton is greater than 1 Newton. So body will start moving this side. So there is unequal forces are there with unequal magnitudes. Okay. Can be in the same or opposite direction. So direction of forces are opposite and they have unequal magnitudes. Causes a change in motion. So now before, if I have not applied this 1 Newton force, motion object was going that side. Immediately when greater force is applied, the object start moving this side. So all the criteria are fulfilled. Now second example, second scenario if I take, suppose I am applying 1 Newton force on the right hand side, again 1 Newton force in the same direction. Though the magnitudes are equal, but the direction of forces are equal. So if we will see, what is the net force in the left hand side? Net force is equal to 0. And what is the net force here? Net force is equal to 2 Newton. So this is, though magnitudes are same, but the forces are in the same direction and there is change in motion. So these are the two categories of forces. One is balanced force, another one is unbalanced force. Okay children, just a short recap. In balanced force we have equal and opposite forces. They do not cause the change in motion. Unbalanced force, they have unequal forces, can be in the same or opposite direction and cause a change in motion. So next thing we will see. So I am going to explain. We will just not directly jump into the laws of motion. Step by step with different examples I am going to explain you. Next, we will see the who gave the 3 laws of motion. Yes, Sir Isaac Newton gave 3 laws of motion. But is it correct if I say only Sir Isaac Newton was the only person to give the laws of motion without anybody's theory, anybody's help? No. There were so many scientists who were studying about these motions the relation between force and motion, what causes motion. Okay, force causes motion, then what is the basic of the motion, what are the things which support motion. So first scientist was Aristotle. First scientist was Aristotle. He was the first scientist who gave the idea about motion. What he said? He said an external force is required to move a stationary object. This is quite similar to what I said in the beginning, right? Aristotle said that an external force is required to move a stationary object. What he said? That only external force is required to move a stationary object. He gave an example, of you must be having your siblings at home, or when you were a kid, you must be playing with those toys. Like one toy will be there and it is attached with a string, and the kid will be dragging the toy. Similarly, what Aristotle said, gave the example that when we are dragging the toy, the toy is coming behind us, but the moment we leave the string, the toy will stop. The motion of the object will stop. So Aristotle said that to keep an stationary object in a uniform motion, not only in the beginning external force is required, but throughout the journey external force is required and no other force is required. He said like that. But after him came Galileo. After him came Galileo. What Galileo said? Galileo said that he corrected Aristotle. Galileo said that in frictionless body, we don't need any external force. No external force is needed. Galileo said in frictionless body. What is the meaning of frictionless body? In frictionless body, we don't need any resistive force. We don't need any frictional force to stop the motion. So Galileo correct Aristotle, and he said that an external force is needed only when there is a resistive force. There is a resistive force. What is the resistive force? Resistive force means there is a frictional force. Because when we are applying external force, compulsory one resistive force should be there to stop the object. So Galileo corrected Aristotle and he said like this. Then Galileo, what he said, that in a frictionless body we don't need any external force, because in a frictionless body, where do we find a frictionless body? When the surface is either very smooth or a slippery surface is there. So when you keep any object, we don't need external, we don't need push to push the object. Immediately the object will start moving and it will go, nobody will be there to, no other force will be there to stop it. So one more thing what Galileo said, that at rest, when the body is at rest, what is the net force, total force? Net force is equal to 0. Am I right? When a body is at rest, then there is no movement. Then net force is equal to 0. So is it that there is no external force here, children? When the body is at rest, net force is equal to 0. What does this mean? There is no external force? No, there is external force, and maybe this force is, this object is in the influence of balanced force. Means, see, this is an object. Here 5 Newton is there, opposite side 5 Newton, here 2 Newton, here 2 Newton. So 5 Newton cancel, 2 Newton cancel. So the net force is equal to 0. Okay. So body is at rest. It does not mean that there is no external force. Maybe this object is in the influence of balanced force. That's why all the forces will get cancelled and the body is at rest. What Galileo said that in a uniform motion, when there is a frictionless surface, the object will move in a uniform motion. What is the meaning of uniform motion? You have read already. Uniform motion means uniform velocity, means constant velocity. With a constant velocity, with the same velocity, body will be moving. So what Galileo said that when a body is moving in a frictionless surface, they are having a uniform with a uniform velocity. There also uniform motion, there also net force is equal to 0. Net force means no external force is needed. External force is equal to 0. There is no external force. In frictionless surface. In frictionless surface, when a body is moving in uniform motion, there is no external force. So the net force is equal to 0. With his this research, with this idea, what Galileo said that the body at rest is equivalent to the body in uniform motion. What Galileo research said? Galileo said, conclusion of Galileo. Okay, what was the conclusion of Galileo? Conclusion of Galileo that a body at rest is equivalent to a body in uniform motion. Right, children? Galileo's conclusion was, what was Aristotle's conclusion? He concluded that an external force is required continuously to move a stationary object. Continuously external force is required. But Galileo corrected Aristotle and he said that a body at rest, what Galileo said, an external force is needed. Definitely external force is needed, but only when there is a resistive force along with that external force, he said. So what Galileo concluded that a body at rest is equivalent to the body in uniform motion. Why? Because when a body is at rest, net force is equal to 0. There is no external force. Then already I explained, yes, external forces are there, but they will cancel out and the body is at rest. And equivalent to a body in uniform motion. So when a body in a frictionless surface, when a body is traveling in a uniform motion, we don't need any external force, no forces are applied. So there also the net force is equal to 0. So now with his concept, with Galileo's concept, Sir Isaac Newton gave his first law of motion. Now with this sentence you can ask me why if Newton's first law was based on Galileo's research, was based on Galileo's idea, then why is it called Newton's law, first law of motion? Why is it not called Galileo's first law of motion? Because there is some reason behind it. Yes, because Newton, he was a very great scientist. He not only studied about uniform motion, he not only gave examples and scenarios of non-uniform motion. He extended his studies, he did further so many research, and he gave many examples and many scenarios and many relations for non-uniform motion also. So that's why all the laws was given by Sir Isaac Newton. So with this information for today, this much for today, children. Thank you very much.